morning, people. Welcome back to Techno Churchy, where we speak about tech and the church. With the recent announcement by our president, if you're living in Kenya, you realize that churches are back to lockdown if you're living in Nairobi and its environs. And so every church is trying to get back to being creative in doing ministry. And one of the ways that churches are coming up with ways of doing ministry is, of course, live stream. So that will be our topic today. Before we get into the topic, smash that subscribe button, like the content, and also share with your media teams. Why? Because we are Techno Churchy and we share because we care. Today I've got an amazing topic, and today we'll be discussing reasons why your live stream has a high chance of failing. All right? Your live stream has a high chance of failing. Before I get into the first point, I'd like just to mention that in my experience, live stream is one of the most delicate part of media that I've ever seen. I've done sound, I've done videography, I've done animation, I've done photography, I've done social media, among other things, but there is no part of media that I would consider more delicate than live stream. The reason I'm saying this is because it only takes a slight thing and your live stream, whether it's internet and your live stream is interfered with, whether it's your internet, whether it's your computer, whether it's your issues with your camera, all of a sudden your event is gone and people online, they are writing some nasty stuff, like telling you you've disappointed them. And sometimes that it's not, whatever is happening is beyond you. Okay, so today we look at a few of those issues that where problems with live stream may arise for you. Okay, all right. The first thing that will affect and possibly will make your live stream fail is your camera choice. Unofficially or of the books, there are three ways of categorizing cameras. We have the DSLRs, which are meant for photography majorly, still photography that is. We have the camcorders, which are designed for shooting videos for events. They are designed for shooting videos for long hours. And then we have the cinema cameras, which are mostly used for shooting films, though you can use them even for weddings and other things and other events. Okay? These three categories of cameras are by design have different purposes. Like the DSLR that we've said is meant for photography. Yes, you can do short videos with them, you can even do streaming with them, but you need to understand that they don't give you a lot of flexibility when it comes to live stream. For example, if you're using a DSLR, most DSLRs have the USB output, or they have the HDMI mini output, which I tell you does not provide sufficient current to push your signal for longer distances. Most of the time when you're in an event or you're in a church, you want to run your cables to the front or to a distance that might be somewhere between, depending on the size of your church, somewhere between 10 to 50 meters. And you realize that distance is needed. And so DSLRs are not the best option for doing long distance streaming. As a matter of fact, as long as your live stream, your camera might need to go further than 1.5 meters, DSLRs are not the most recommendable sources of cameras to use for live stream. You can use them for vlogs, for streaming into your YouTube channel, to your Facebook channel. Maybe you have just one person seated in a room, maybe you can use them. But you need to know that you'll have to do a lot of changes in the settings for your camera to accommodate live stream. The audio also is not that very good for streaming, and so that is also another setback that comes, and that is another area where your live stream might fail. The second category of cameras is the camcorders. By design, camcorders are meant for events. They are meant for weddings, whether it's a graduation, whether it's a funeral. They're meant for events where you need to show a lot in the frame for long hours. For example, if it's a concert, you want to show people on stage, and they are the best to use sometimes. The advantage they have also is that they have longer battery power, which gives you, even without power, gives you longer shooting and streaming hours. Okay. The advantage is that they also have high processing output, meaning that they can send your signals far compared to the DSLRs. In my opinion, they are the best options for doing live streams. As we get into the cinema cameras. The cinema cameras, just going by the name, is that they are meant for cinemas. They are meant for cinema shoots. Most of the time in cinema shoots, scenes don't last above five minutes. Most of the scenes don't go beyond 5 minutes. And so with that, you realize that things that like battery life don't really matter to people who are doing cinema, because they can always change batteries, and also because their scenes are shorter. Even most of the cinema cameras come with batteries that last the longest. They last up to half an hour, and you see most of the events don't run for half an hour. And so if you're going for cinema cameras for live stream, you need to understand that you'll need to ensure that they are properly powered. You'll have to get extra rigs for you to be able to power them sufficiently. The other downside of cinema cameras is that most of the time their audio input, some of them come with mini XLR audio inputs, which mean that you need to buy extra converters to convert, or extra cables to convert from mini HDMI to normal HDMI that your system can, and most systems accept. The beauty about cinema cameras is that they give you high quality, high resolution video, whether it's for streaming or for shooting. They give you high resolution video, and also they give you a lot of flexibility, and they offer a lot of creativity when it comes to your shoot. Things like depth of field, you can shoot in different formats and at different qualities that possibly the camcorders and the DSLRs may not give you. Okay, so before you buy a camera for streaming, make sure you understand all this. You understand that DSLRs are not very flexible when it comes to streaming. Camcorders, in my opinion, are the best option, but they don't. You don't get a lot of room for creativity. That's the only downside. And cinema cameras, in as much as you have a lot of room for creativity, but for you to be able to fully use them for streaming properly, you'll need to buy extra rigs and extra accessories. All right. The second point that I would like to make about the reasons why your live stream will fail is your choice of cable. Like I said, with the DSLR, you get the USB output, which cannot run for long. Most USB cables are a meter or less, so it means you can only run them between a distance between a meter or so. The DSLRs, the cables they use, can only run for, if it is HDMI, the HDMI mini can only run for close to 1.5 meters, and for you to be able to push it further, push the signal further, you need to buy extenders or converters that will push an extender that will convert the signal from USB to HDMI to Cat5 or Cat6, or maybe a converter that will convert the HDMI to SDI. So those are things you need to note when you're dealing with cables. For cameras such as camcorders come with HDMI or SDI, and some even come with both outputs that enable you to send signals for long. usually with the normal HDMI, you can send a signal. People say up to 25-30 meters, but a piece of advice, if it has gone beyond 10 meters or 15 meters at most, please convert the signal. Please, I would beg you, convert the signal to SDI or Cat6 or Cat5, because it allows you to it push the signal longer distances. HDMI have a tendency of starting to lose signal past 15 meters, depending on the quality of the HDMI cable you have, and so take note of that. Okay, SDIs can go up to over 100 meters. So if you have a camera that runs on SDI cables, you can run those cables for over 100 meters without losing signal. So you need to really know that even before buying. This also affects your choice of cameras. Before buying a camera, make sure the output is the proper output that you need, that it also fits with your encoder or video mixer, so that you don't have to get so many accessories to do a very simple job. Okay, so those are some of the cables you can use for streaming: HDMI, SDI, Cat5. If you're using extenders, or USB, which is not very much recommended. It's the least solution to this. But for small time streaming, you can always do the USB. Okay. The fourth reason why your streaming might fail is your choice of computers. Above every other thing, let's start with RAM. Forget about the brands of the computers. Let's do the basics that every computer needs to have. Some people will tell you that for you to be able to stream, you need at least 4 GBs of RAM. But I beg to differ with that, because 4 GB of RAM it's like you're only running the OS. Especially for production computers, that's just enough for running the software and not doing any other thing. Imagine this: you're running, you are processing video and audio that is coming from your encoder. You are processing information that your streaming software is using. You are processing whatever your web browser is doing, and all these three things are major consumers of computer juice. They will consume a lot of power for processing, because they deal with heavy graphics. They deal with a lot of bandwidth. They need a lot of power for you to be able to deal with such graphics. Okay, maybe you are even doing lower thirds, and also you are using other things such as Photoshop at the same time, or Illustrator at the same time you are running these programs. So it is very difficult to do streaming with a 4 GB RAM computer. While my recommendation is usually 16 GB, and I know maybe sometimes you would say, oh, 16 GBs, when am I an editor? Yes, you're an editor. You're editing things live as they go online. So you need to think like an editor. Give your computer proper power. Of course, 8 GB computers work. But what I would recommend, if you have an 8 GB computer, make sure your storage is SSD and not HDD, because SSD are faster and will boost your computer speed. And also, if you can get a dedicated graphics card, that is even advantageous. All right. Yeah, so those are my recommendations. But if you can get usually you can get the latest processors like an i7 or an i9, the better. That will also boost your processing speeds and processing power. The fourth reason why your streaming might fail is internet. As a matter of fact, this is one of the biggest reasons why most streamings fail: internet. Our internet sources come from three ways. Usually you have a LAN from a service provider, or a Wi-Fi from a service provider, or you're using a modem which uses a SIM card from your mobile service provider. Let's start with the best option, which is LAN. LAN is the best option for streaming because with LAN you get stable flow of internet, because not many people will plug into your LAN unless you're hotspotting from your computer. Also, unless the cable is cut, you don't get so many interruptions. Wi-Fi are good, but not as good as LAN, because the problem with Wi-Fi is that you might be streaming and also connected to your phone, and so that might reduce your that will eat into your bandwidth. The third and the last one, which is an option you can only go for unless you don't have the two, is the SIM card. The biggest issue with the SIM card or the modem that uses a SIM card is that for SIM cards and mobile service provision is that the service providers give priority to phone calls and SMSs. And so this is a huge setback for internet using modems, which gives them a bit, because depending on the area you are, if you're in a densely populated area, you will realize that your internet will start failing when you start streaming. A recent example is we had gone to do a live stream for a friend's funeral recently, and when we were testing the equipment, everything was okay. But the moment the crowd came and everyone was using their phones, the internet immediately dropped. And so those are the issues of using SIM cards. Whether it is SIM card using your phone or SIM cards using a modem, the issues are almost similar. The other thing is bandwidth. My recommendation for bandwidth or for internet speeds would be 10 Mbps, at least 10 Mbps for live stream. Because why? We want to stream HD. We want to look good out there, and you know that if you have done speed tests on your computer, you will realize that your speeds you rarely get the 10 Mbps exactly. Sometimes it comes down to 7. Rarely does it go above 10, so it's somewhere between 7 and 10. So imagine if you get 5 Mbps, for example. When you're getting the downtimes go sometimes up to 1 Mbps. You see now with this, you're already at a disadvantage. So I'd rather you get a 10 Mbps package, at least a 10 Mbps package or higher, so that when it drops, you are at around 6 or 7, which is still safe for you. You can still do streaming with that. The last and the final point that I'd like to speak about is power. You need stable power when you're doing streaming. Power affects video, power affects audio. So you need proper power. So my request for you is that make sure that your camera has proper power, stable power that will run you throughout the event. Your computers run on proper power, your encoder runs on proper power, your converters or your extenders run on proper power. Get a UPS as a backup power so that it also stabilizes your power. In case there are fluctuations, you continue getting clean power. Otherwise, that's it from me. Let me know what you think. If there's anything I've missed about streaming, let me know down in the comment section. Otherwise, from me, I'm out.